Hello, and welcome to this video about information searching. In this video, we're going to cover advanced search skills. Here we can see the aims for the session. So firstly, we're going to look at developing a search strategy. Then we'll move on to making your searches efficient and effective before thinking about the best places to put these techniques into practice in terms of where to search. Finally, we'll briefly mention where you can find extra help after watching this video. Okay, so first of all, let's think about starting your search journey. The most important thing to remember is that it is always worthwhile to plan your search before you start. While this might seem initially like it isn't worth the time, I promise you that it will be. So first of all, think about the topic you're researching and the words you can use for this search. This could be the topic of your subject more broadly, or the specific assignment question you've been given. Let's imagine we have a specific assignment question. When you have the question, you first need to filter out unnecessary words. So like it says here, this can include words such as the and what, and also instructional words like discuss or analyse. So let's imagine this is our assignment question. To what extent is Britain a multicultural society? So what are the key words in this question? I would say that the keywords are Britain, multicultural and society. So you can see we've removed the unnecessary words like to and is, as well as extent and what. This leaves the keywords that will be used in our search. When we're thinking about keywords, however, we need to remember that people can refer to the same concepts or ideas in different ways. So just like with this illusion image, people can see the same thing in different ways. So when I see this image, I see a young lady looking away. You may, however, see an older lady with a headscarf looking to the left. So what am I getting at here? Basically, as we all see things in different ways, we need to remember that we all refer to things in different ways too. This means it's crucial to think of synonyms for our keywords. Synonyms are different words with the same meaning. If we don't think of these alternative words, we can overly restrict our searches based purely on the terminology we are using. So a good example of this is the term football. If I was searching for football, I would use this term. However, an American student would likely use the word soccer. So if I only search for the word football, I might be missing out research carried out in the US on the same topic. I would therefore need to search for both key terms, football and soccer. So let's go back to our keywords, Britain, multicultural and society. What could some synonyms or alternative words for these be? So I have come up with these alternative words shown here. So for Britain, we have the UK, United Kingdom, British and others. For multicultural, we have integration, multiracial, etc. And for society, we have community, culture and nation. There may well be more, and you may find you come across more than when you carry out your searches. So we have the keywords and synonyms, but now we need to think about how to use and combine these words to make an efficient search. The first technique for this is called phrase searching, and what phrase searching does is keep multiple words that form key phrases together in your search. So based on our keywords and synonyms, this could include Great Britain and United Kingdom, for example. By putting United Kingdom in quotation marks in your search, it tells the database or search engine to keep these words together and only show results when they are together. So it wouldn't show results that just mention United or Kingdom on their own, which is good because this could include lots of irrelevant results. United, for example, without Kingdom, could include United Nations or even Manchester United. So it becomes clear quickly that adding quotation marks around these phrases will help to make your search more specific. So let's have a look at how this works. I'm going to navigate to the library homepage, and from here I'm going to search for United Kingdom. I'll search first without quotation marks. You'll see that there are lots of results here, over 3 million. If I now add quotation marks around United Kingdom, we should see that there are less results. So yeah, we now have 2.2 million, which is still too many, but you can see that they have reduced substantially. Another good technique for making your search more efficient is using truncation, or stem search as it is also called. And what this does is it allows you to search for different endings of words in the same search. So you do this by removing the end of a word and replacing it with an asterisk. I will add a side note here that the symbol to use does sometimes vary, but if you're unsure, you can usually find the symbol in the settings section of the database that you are using. So as we can see on the examples on the slide, using this truncation can work in a variety of situations. When searching for culture, for example, we could replace the final E of the word with an asterisk, and this will mean the database or search engine will then show results for different variations of the word, including culture, cultures, cultural, etc. And with nation, if we add an asterisk to the end of the word, the database will find national, nations, nationalism, etc. So let's try this out in the library search again. First, I will search for nation. You'll then see that there are over 3 million results. If I add an asterisk to the end, that will then bring results for nations, national, nationalism, as we just saw, you'll see the results have gone up to 12.8 million, more than 4 times what they were before. So you can see that using truncation really does broaden your search. A word of warning with using truncation: try not to overuse it or to truncate too early in a word. So on the example here, if we were researching computers, truncating after COMP would bring results for computer, computers, and computable, which would likely be helpful for your search, but would also bring results for comparable and comparison, and many other irrelevant terms. Next, we're going to talk about Boolean operators, which are used to connect various search terms. There are 3 main Boolean operators that we'll cover today: and, or, and not. Using these words between your keywords tells the database how you want them to connect the terms you are searching for. So let's start with and. And is used to limit your search, and it tells the database you want it to only show you results that include both terms either side of the and operator. So the example on the slide here is for chocolate and cake. By adding and, you tell the database you're only interested in results that mention both terms. So you're not interested in results about chocolate that don't mention cake, and you're not interested in cake unless it includes chocolate. So from the Venn diagram, you can see this will therefore reduce your number of results. This is really helpful, as it means you can make your results much more targeted and relevant. However, be careful, as by excluding everything that doesn't include both words, you can over-restrict your search. Another Boolean operator is or. This is used to widen your search, and it enables you to search for synonyms within the same search. So following the example from earlier, searching for football or soccer would tell the database you want results that include either or both of these terms. Again, be wary with this, but this time because it can over-broaden your search. The final operator we'll mention today is not. This is probably used the least, but is helpful for excluding words that may keep showing in your results, but which aren't relevant to your assignment or research. So for example, if you were researching the media but weren't interested in radio, you could include media, not radio, in your search. From the Venn diagram, you can see that this will also exclude any results that mention both media and radio, the middle section of the diagram. So be careful, as something that is relevant could be within this middle section. Many databases are set up to make using these Boolean operators easier for you via their advanced search options. So let's have a look at how to do this from the library search. So from your initial search, you need to click Advanced Search under the search bar, and you will be taken to this page. From here, we can input a keyword and then add another line with a Boolean operator in between. So I'm going to search for UK and then add another line, which is already here with and there I'll put multicultural. And then I'll add another line using the Boolean and I'm going to put society. And then I'll add another line, but this time with the Boolean or to include culture. You can then scroll down and press search. And here we have the results for that advanced search. Now you can have a go. So here we have some example searches that you can carry out through the library's advanced search using the different rows and Boolean operators as I've just shown you. Do a few of these and have a look at how the number of results changes depending on the search techniques and operators that you use. Pause the video now and have a go. Hopefully, you've now had a chance to test out some of the search techniques we've gone through so far. I'm sure you will have noticed that you are retrieving far too many results that you would be able to read through. In some respects, you would need more trial and error to combine keywords in different ways, but you can also use filters to make your search more specific and tailored to your needs. If we head back to the advanced search, what you can see is a number of different filters that can refine your results. So we've got year, we've got format, we've got language, amongst others. You can also change where in the results your search terms will be. So here we've got it set at keyword for all of our search terms, but we could change some of these so that you look for the words in the title or the subject, or you can even search for key authors. Using these will limit your search further. So let's clear the search we did earlier, and we'll do a fairly basic search using some of the filters. So we're going to search for multicultural, but with truncation. And this time we're going to search for that just in the title. We're also then going to filter the format to e-resource, and then we'll press search. And here we have the results. If you wanted to then amend this further, you click back onto advanced search here, and we could change the filter again. So we could maybe put in some years. So we might want 2012 to 2020, and then we could search again. And that will change the results. So you should now be fairly familiar with advanced search and how the different techniques can be used within these specially designed search engines. Advanced search works in a similar way to how it does on the library search on individual databases. Using individual databases instead of the general library search will bring you more relevant results, as databases tend to be subject specific. So let's have a look at how to find the best databases for you. On the library homepage, as you can see here on the slide, underneath Study and Research Support, so Study and Research Support is here, and underneath that you can see the word Subject Guide. If you click onto that, you will be taken to a list of the subject guides. There is a subject guide for each department, and they've been put together by your academic liaison librarian. The guides contain a whole range of useful resources, especially for your subject area, including databases. So, if you pause this video now and have a look for your subject guide on the library website, From here, you can choose a database that is recommended for your subject area. Once you have one of these databases open, have a go at searching for our key terms and synonyms using the different techniques we've been through so far. If you find you're not retrieving any results with these terms, have a think about some other terms that are relevant to your subject area and try searching for these within the database you're on's advanced search, using the search techniques and filters that we've been through so far. So pause the video now and have a go. Hopefully, you will now have become a bit more familiar with the advanced search techniques and are also aware of where to find databases that are specific to your subject area. The important thing to remember from all of this is that literature searching does take time, so make sure you don't leave it until the last minute. Remember that you need time to plan, practice, and adapt your search technique, and still need to read the material once you've found it. You also need to be prepared to try different searches depending on the results that you get. The diagram here goes through some tips of what to do if you find your search is bringing too few results. Firstly, a simple one, check your spelling, as most databases won't autocorrect or assume like Google does. Also check the database coverage. Does it cover the subject area you're researching or the years that research in that area may have been published? You could also try alternative or less specific keywords, so think of more synonyms and add them to your search using or maybe broaden the search a bit from those initial keywords you identified, or apply truncation to words if it is relevant. If you are finding too many results, which is equally as frustrating, you can try more specific keywords and can use AND to include additional concepts to make your search more specific. You can also use phrase searching if you have multi-word phrases, and make sure to use the limits available in the database you're using. You may also find some irrelevant terms keep cropping up in your results, so you can try using NOT to exclude these. Hopefully you'll get to the stage where the number of results is just right. When you reach this stage, firstly think about whether you have covered everything. Is there anything you thought you would find in the results that you haven't? If the answer is yes, think of some new terms or concepts, or search in other databases. You can also run author searches for key authors in the area, or use citation searching. We'll come back to this one. If you think you have everything you need, make sure to save your results. This can be done in the database itself, depending on the database's functionality, in reference management software, or in a more manual format such as a list or spreadsheet. Make sure to also record the searches you have carried out in your search plan. This is good for if you need to return to the topic at a later date and can save you time in the long run. As just mentioned, citation searching is a great way to find more research after the initial search. Looking at the reference lists of relevant articles you find will help you to find other relevant articles. This is called snowballing. Furthermore, if you know a particular journal is highly relevant to your topic, then look through the contents of this journal. Online journals often have more recent articles than the databases, so this can be a good technique for finding the latest research. If you know a particular author has written a lot on your topic, you can use the author search in Encore, specific databases, or Google to find other work they may have written. All of these techniques are not only useful when searching on academic databases and the library website, but can also be used when searching the broader internet. Google Scholar is a search engine that many of you are likely familiar with and can be used to broaden your search. However, be aware that Google Scholar doesn't always have the most up-to-date research, and not everything it displays in its results will be peer-reviewed. However, a good tip when using Google Scholar is to set up library links. You can do this by going to Google Scholar and selecting Settings. From there, click on Library Links, as you can see on the slide. Once you're on the Library Links page, you then need to search for Essex in the search bar, and then need to choose University of Essex, get this item at Essex. Setting this up will mean that Google Scholar will flag any articles it knows you have access to via the library subscriptions, and takes you through to them using your university credentials. However, do be aware that this isn't always accurate, so we'd always recommend searching the library website too. We run sessions on Google search techniques, and you can also complete the Google Search Skills online tutorial. A link to this tutorial and some of our other online content will be available in this video's description. When you're searching via the broader web, you may also find some open access resources. Open access resources have been made freely available to everyone online, regardless of whether they are affiliated with a university. This is great, as it allows a wider range of people to access research. However, open access resources are not always the easiest to find. One way to find open access resources is to search the Directory of Open Access Journals, or DOAJ. You can also download free plugins, such as the Open Access button, Unpaywall, or Copernio. These plugins work by flagging legal open access publications if you reach a paywall when carrying out research online. That's everything we wanted to cover in this video on advanced information searching. I hope that you have found it helpful. If you have any questions, you can visit our website or send us an email. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Please also follow the links in the description of this video to further online support for search skills and other library tutorials.